Good evening. Welcome to my man cave. It's Friday night once again. We got brother Jeff here with us from Orlando, down in Orlando, and my wife Tanya, who's running the show from upstairs. And in case I've never mentioned it, I'm from North Carolina. I'm in Valdez, North Carolina, a little small town, western North Carolina. And Ryan, glad you could make it in here with us. It's Friday, and I'm of course looking forward to our Friday night drink. Uh, for you guys that are having a drink with me, be sure and leave me a comment over here. Let me know what you're having. Andrew's having some Buffalo Trace. Andrew, I'm going to be working on the other end of the Buffalo Trace spectrum tonight. I'm going to be turning this bottle of Blanton's into a dead soldier. I've got about one good pour left left in this bottle of Blanton's, so we'll have to salute this guy. So
Salute, bless it.
yeah, so I'm taking that bottle to work with me tomorrow night. A friend of mine at work makes light fixtures or something out of bourbon bottles. I'm going to give her that one and let her do what with it what she will. So cheers, Hank. Glad you could make it. Peter's having some Elijah Craig rye from Reno. Okay, let me tell you, Elijah Craig. That's a very underrated bourbon. I've got some Elijah Craig small batch, and I also have Elijah Craig small batch is about all I can get my hands on normally. That's always in my liquor stores. Uh, I stumbled across a bottle of barrel proof one time, and I've got that still. I've got some of that, but I have never ever seen. Hey, Judy, my cousin Judy's with us tonight. Good deal. I've never ever stumbled across any of the other varieties of Elijah Craig. So it's good stuff, though. It is. And Tanya, Jeff, are you having a drink with us tonight?
Yep, have some Eagle Rare.
That's another great choice out of the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Tanya, what are you drinking up there?
Well, I am drinking water, but let's see if
Oh,
I can get it to light up. It is out of this beautiful Kamado Joe.
guys, that's
Turquoise.
old school. That's an old school item right there. They don't. They only made a few of those when they did it, and Tanya and I both have one of those Tervis tumblers with the Kamado, the old school Kamado Joe logos on it. So yeah, those things were hot when they were available, and they just didn't keep them available for some reason or another. Jeff, do you remember those?
Not only do I remember them, I have one.
You got one too.
Yep.
So yeah, the the Kamado Joe stuff's fun. I've had a good bourbon week this week. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Tanya, I'm going to bring you back a little bit later on. You're doing a great job up there, Jeff. Let's see. Here in North Carolina, for those of you who are unaware, all liquor sales above a certain percentage are controlled by the state of North Carolina, and they're all you purchase all this stuff at what's called an ABC store. ABC stands for Alcoholic Beverage Control. It's the only place you can buy spirits over. I think it's 21% maybe or 24% alcohol. I can't remember what that number is, but anything above that has to be sold through the ABC stores. And the draw there's a good side to this and a bad side. The good side is I never pay a dime above MSRP for any of it. I don't get jacked by the dealer or by the store. I pay whatever retail is. The bad side of it is a lot of some stuff's a lot harder to come by here. My local ABC store, which is just a mile and a half down the road, periodically, 4 or 5 times a year, they have what's called a lottery, and they'll save all their stuff that's called allocated stuff that's hard to get, stuff that's hard to come by, and they'll have anywhere from 60 to 100 bottles of stuff, and they'll send you the email and say you need to show up Saturday morning. You fill out the form, they give you a ticket with a number on it. You sit outside, listen to a radio station, and if they call your number, you get to go in and you get to pick a bottle of whatever they have. Well, they had one of these lotteries Saturday, and it'll be the third one I've been to. And I haven't done well. The first lottery I went to, I didn't get called at all. All the bourbon that they had was gone before my number got called. The second one I went to, I got called so far down the list, all the really good stuff was gone, and I scored a 1.75 liter bottle of Eagle Rare. So that was the best thing left by the time my number got called. But Saturday, guys, I hit the jackpot. My number was the first number pulled, and I went crazy. I wasn't planning on buying a really expensive bottle of bourbon. I had my list of what they had available, and I had picked out in what order I wanted it. I said, and when those were gone, I was going to leave. I wasn't even going to wait around. But I scored a bottle of Old Fitzgerald, 17-year-old, and this was one of the top two bottles they had. They had the Heaven Hill. I can't even remember what that Heaven Hill was called, but they had two bottles of the Heaven Hill and they had two bottles of the Old Fitzgerald. And I knew a little bit about the Old Fitzgerald, and I knew it fit into the style of bourbon I like to drink, so I bought that. And I had a glass of that Monday night. That's where the picture here comes from. I made a picture of it, and this bourbon is exquisite. It's really amazing. And Old Fitzgerald's a wheated bourbon. You know, it's kind of like Pappy Van Winkle. And this is a really smooth and a really complex, rich, sweet bourbon. It's got a lot of caramel, a lot of butterscotch flavor. Alan, good to have you with us. Uh, Thailand, okay. I wonder what it's like trying to get bourbon in Thailand. That would be a good question. But this Old Fitzgerald, guys, is one of these bottles. I decided to go ahead and get this one rather than some of the lower end stuff I had picked out, because this is probably, for me, this could be a once in a lifetime chance for me to get that. Other states that don't have state controlled sales of this stuff, you can find this stuff, but it's super expensive. And in fact, a friend of mine offered me twice what I paid for this bottle if I would sell it to him and not open it. And I told him, I said, I'm a drinker. I said, I'm not a collector. So I'll have this. I may have this on one Friday night at some point, but this is going to be something I don't tap into very often. But I do intend to drink all of this. So for anybody that's interested in that, what it is it's a longer aged version of Larceny, and Larceny is very reasonably priced. This Larceny small batch was my bottle price on this was $28. Jeff, it was at the Valdez ABC store. And if you're not on their email list, you need to go by there and get on it, because they put the emails out. And like I said, we just had one this past Saturday. Guys, Jeff's local. He lives in the next town over from me here. And Jeff likes good bourbon also. But yeah, this was at the Valdez ABC store. So yeah, you definitely want to get in on that lottery. But Larceny is a wheated bourbon. So yeah, Alan's not going to be a fan of Kentucky bourbons and Tennessee whiskeys, but that's okay. I haven't dug deeply into the Scotch whiskeys yet. I'm going to play with that a little bit more in time, but I'm still settling into what I like here. And Alan, the only Scotch whiskeys I have right now are both Orkney Island offerings. I have the Scapa. I have a bottle of Scapa, and I've got a bottle of the 12-year-old Highland Park. Both I think are very good. I like the Highland Park better, but that's the only Scotch whiskey I have in my cabinet right now, and I don't have any Irish whiskey up there. So, but guys, if you get an opportunity, try this Larceny if you're interested in the wheated bourbons, which is a sweeter bourbon. This bourbon has no rye in the mash bill. It's got corn, wheat, and malted barley. That's all that's in this, and it's got a really smooth flavor. And this Larceny is pretty good. I had a taste of that this week also, so I could sort of compare it to the Old Fitzgerald. And there are similarities in the two. The Old Fitzgerald, though, is, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a lot richer character than this. So, Jeff, have you had either one of the two?
I've had the Larceny. I've not had the Fitzgerald.
Yeah, the Larceny. I think the Larceny might be something I'm going to keep in the cabinet here. At, at a $30 bottle, it's kind of in the same wheelhouse as my. Well, the Knob Creek. The Knob Creek's a little more expensive than that, but not a lot. So, Carla, glad you could make it with us also. We got a good crowd. So, Jeff, let me see here. Jeff and I cooked prime rib this week, guys. Both of us. Publix, I told y'all last week about the Publix sale. Publix had prime rib uh, for on sale. But before I get into that, I want to talk about one more quick thing. Ed likes Larceny. Yeah. One of the things I've been wanting to do is learn how to make a good old fashioned. And one of the ways for making old fashioned includes using a simple syrup. But I wanted a simple syrup with a little more complexity. So I made some homemade simple syrup. And simple syrup, for if you're not aware of it, is just a 50-50 mix of sugar and water. You can make a simple syrup by dissolving a cup of sugar in a cup of water, putting it in a container, and tossing it in your refrigerator. But I think bringing some more character to that flavor by caramelizing the sugar first would be cool. And that's what I've done here. I took a cup of sugar and put it in my saucepan and turned the heat on, and I kept it stirring. I didn't want to scorch anything. And we just let that sugar work its way down into a caramel liquid. And then I added a cup of hot water. I took it off the heat. You don't want to add even hot water directly to that before it gets a chance to cool just a little bit, because that sugar's 300 plus degrees. And you put that in there, and then I stirred it up to get it all combined really well, and put the lid on it, and I turned the heat down to very low, because when I put that water in on top of that caramelized sugar, the caramelized sugar basically hardened at that point. So put it back on the stove top with the lid on the pot over your lowest heat setting for a while, and let it heat the sugar back up, and let all that sugar completely dissolve. This it was almost completely dissolved here in this picture, and then I just put it in a bottle with a stopper on it, tossed it in my refrigerator. That's if you're into simple syrup, if you're into making anything that use simple syrup, I encourage you to try this, because the flavor here is a lot nicer than just a plain simple syrup. And Tanya and I did a little road tripping today, because in order to make a legitimate old fashioned, if you're going to put a cherry in it, these Luxardo cherries are kind of the gold standard. And when I was looking into that, the only place I could find to buy Luxardo cherries was Amazon or Williams and Sonoma. So we hiked down to Williams and Sonoma down the road, and I ended up getting both of these cherries, and they're really good. Tanya and I each tried one of those today. Jeff, have you ever tried these Luxardo cherries?
Yep.
What do you think about it?
Head and shoulders above maraschinos. Pure, your Publix maraschino cherries.
They have a very complex flavor, and the syrup that they're packaged in is crazy. It's really good. And Jeff, these amaretto cherries are very similar. There's a lot of similarities between the two. The amaretto,
Good over ice cream.
I know it would be. I absolutely know it would be great on top of some ice cream or anything else. I'm trying to convince myself that I might want to use Luxardo cherries sometime to make a glaze for some pork.
That'd be awesome.
Russell's Reserve. Robert's having Russell's Reserve. I haven't heard of that one. But where am I now here? Okay, another thing I picked up today at Costco. My friend Ben Siegel, who's another Kamado Joe enthusiast that you guys might have seen around the Kamado Joe group, was asking me about this book earlier this week. He asked me if I had seen it. And I told him I had. I just told him I hadn't picked one up yet. This is a really cool book about wok cooking, and it's something I'd like to play with a little bit more. And it's going to give me an excuse to get my Camp Chef propane stove back out of the storage shed and fire it back up and do a little bit of wok cooking. I've already glanced through this book, and there's some really incredible things in it. If any of you are into wok cooking, or if any of you have this book and have tried some of the stuff in here, let me know. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about it. And if there's anything you've done out of that book that you find to be amazing, please point me directly to it, because I'm gonna need to pick up a wok. I don't really have a wok. What I have is more of a stir fry pan, and it's not concave enough. It's flat with not a lot of sloped sides on it. And I'm gonna have to pick me up another wok before I really get onto this. But anyway, the prime rib. Jeff, you bought, how big was the one you bought?
11 pounds.
Jeff's was 11 pounds. This one right here was 5 or so, 5 or 5.5. From Pappy. Yeah, I haven't seen those cherries either, Jeff. But yeah, Jeff, be sure and get on that mailing list you have to go by the store to do it. They'll put you on it. But Brent, glad you could make it. But my mom has been wanting to have a prime rib dinner for my sister and her husband, who really love prime rib for quite a while. And I lost 2 prime ribs when I had my little freezer accident a while back, left the freezer door open. So when Publix put these things on sale, which, guys, they're probably still on sale tomorrow and Sunday also in some locations if they're open on Sunday. This sale's not over yet. $6.99 a pound. Now's the time to get some prime rib if you want to try it. But this guy, I went over to my mom's the day before we were planning to eat this, and I took it out of the packaging, and I gave it a nice liberal coat of my Man Cave Meals AP Mojo. I wrapped it back up and tossed that guy back in the refrigerator overnight so that thing could dry brine in the seasonings. And this is something I don't get to do that often. This is my original Kamado Joe. This is the very first classic that Bobby Brennan set me up with way back when I first started doing Kamado Joe content. Those are actually the original bamboo side tables. This thing stays in the garage. It's never been rained on as far as I know. And those side tables are still in good shape. The only upgrades this grill has had, it's got an AMP firebox in it now and an ash pan, and it's got a divide and conquer kit in it. But this thing still cooks as good as it did the day I got it. But I fired it up to 250 degrees. I took my fireboard down there, and of course I let the fireboard do all the grill control, and I put this on at 250, and I just let it ride until the internal temperature got up to about 123. And this is what it looks like when it comes off. I don't worry about reverse searing prime rib. You can feel free to do that if that's what you like to do, but I don't. And the reason I don't like to reverse sear a prime rib is because more times than not, even no matter how careful you are, I think you get that reverse sear is going to overcook the spinalis, which is the tenderest and most flavorful part of that roast. And I don't get that when I do it this way. And here's, what this guy looks like on the inside. Just sliced it open, and I sliced this guy. I got 5 nice sized steaks out of this. And I cooked some green. My mom made a scalloped potato casserole to go with this, but since I'm doing low carb, I didn't need any of that. I made some green beans for everybody, which I steamed my green beans for about 10 minutes, and then I tossed them in a little oil and just gave them a little salt and pepper and put them on a sheet pan under the broiler until they started to blister up. You can see on there some of those black blisters there. And that was our dinner. We had that Tuesday night for dinner. Jeff had a less than desirable experience with his $6.99 prime rib. Jeff, you want to tell us about that?
It just wasn't the best cut of meat. You know how it's the luck of the draw. It was a little on the tough side, and it was medium rare, and it was tough.
Yeah.
But it made great Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, let me tell you.
You can't waste it, of course, but this just goes to, and mine was perfect. There was nothing whatsoever wrong with any of this. It was butter tender. It was fork tender. You really almost didn't need a knife to tear that thing apart. And it just goes to bolster one fact about meat, and that's they're different. All of them are all cows are not created equal. And
Yep.
every now and I've had that experience. I've had pork butt that wouldn't get good and tender, and I've had more than one brisket that challenged me. I've had ribs that wouldn't get tender. Peter, this is choice grade. Uh, that's all they sell at Publix. Select, I don't even Select. I've never seen Select. Well, I do. I do know one place I can buy Select. There's a meat processor a couple counties over from me that they do have Select. I've never bought any of it, but I don't know of any grocery stores in my area that even sell Select. It's usually Choice. I don't know any grocery stores in my local area besides Sam's Club that have Prime. Uh, yeah, Ryan says it happens, and it does happen. I'm sure, Jeff, you've had other pieces of meat besides that one that didn't
Oh
turn
yeah.
out the way you wanted them to.
I mean, it's nothing with the cook. I mean, the cook was perfect. I did it on the bark, did it the exact same way you did, 250,
Yeah,
and it just was tough.
it's annoying when it happens, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you have such high expectations from prime rib. And honestly, I've had prime ribs that were not spectacular. And one that I can remember particularly was a huge letdown for me because I did a video cook of it. I didn't talk about it in the video because in the video you can't tell if it's tender or not. You have to take what I tell you as fact. Beth says Walmart has Select brisket. I didn't know that. I've never bought a brisket from Walmart. I buy lots of briskets from Sam's Club, though. In fact, most of mine come from Sam's, but my Sam's Club briskets are Choice Angus. They're Angus beef, and they're spectacular. I'll put that Choice Angus beef from Sam's Club up against the Prime from Costco any day of the week. I've never had a bad brisket from Sam's Club. The only that's another oddity. The only briskets I've had challenges with were the primes from Costco, and most of them not the case. Most of them are good, but I've had several prime grade briskets from Costco that I wasn't happy with. So it's a luck of the draw. You're going to get,
Yep.
and also I won't rule out the possibility that I did something wrong. But the fact of the matter is I've cooked a lot of briskets. Jeff, you've cooked a lot of briskets. I hope that we know what we're doing. I hope that we
If we
know.
don't, we missed a darn good
I
chance.
know, man. I don't want to admit that I might have done something wrong. I guess it's possible, but if that was what happened, I don't understand why. Because, like I said, I know when to look for anomalies in the cooking based on cooking temperature. I know for a fact. I did that 24-hour brisket that time where we cooked at 190 degrees,
Mhm.
unwrapped for 12 hours, and then wrapped for 12 hours. That brisket's going to get tender, and it's never going to see 200 degrees. You have to understand that. And but I don't know. Sometimes they're just not going to be what you want them to be, and it's not your fault. It
Yep. That was
might
my
be.
last brisket too. Remember my
Yeah,
last brisket? It took forever to
yeah.
cook.
Jeff had a brisket that took. You were 12. How many hours did that thing go? It went twice as long as I
Yeah.
thought it would go,
Yep.
and it happens. But it
And
was
it was
good,
just the
wasn't it?
flat. It was yeah. Actually it wasn't even the brisket. It was that pastrami. It wasn't the brisket. It was the
Oh, yeah.
pastrami flat that I
The
made.
pastrami didn't get there, so yeah,
And man, it just took forever to get there.
yeah,
But it
it
turned
ha-
out good when it finally got there. But man,
right. But yeah, it's not always going to behave the way you hope it will, and that's one of the reasons I keep saying cooking is an art as much as it is a science. You can take everything that's supposed to happen, and on some cases, it's not going to happen the way you want it to with meat. other baking's is more scientific. There's
Yeah.
if you're using ingredients that are fresh, if you've got good flour, good yeast, you know, good butter, good shortening, good whatever you're baking with, if you're using the consistent quality ingredients, it's going to work out the same way every time unless your oven's misbehaving. That's
And
another.
you're measuring your ingredients in grams rather than
Yeah,
relying on
if
a
you're
cup.
weighing your if you that's why we talked about that before. When I'm baking, I have converted all of my baking recipes to weights rather than volumes because 1 cup of flour does not weigh the same thing every time you measure out 1 cup of flour. And if you don't believe me, you should try it because 1 cup of flour, if I remember correctly, my cup measurement. Well, isn't King Arthur's cup measurement 125 grams, Jeff? Something like that.
That sounds familiar. I'm not going to swear to it though, but that number sounds familiar. But
It was
like
really,
even
it was,
between brands of flours,
yeah.
your weight is off, or
Hey,
your
Jeff.
what a cup would measure is off.
Yeah.
That's why it's just
But
so much better to use grams.
if you're doing it by weight, your results are going to be
Consistent.
consistent because there's going to be nothing. And King Arthur, I figured out how King Arthur's weight for 1 cup of flour was way less than mine, and that's that they were sifting flour into a measuring cup and then leveling it off. So that wasn't how I was loading my measuring cup when I was figuring mine out. So that's when you and I were playing with that
The
uh,
cinnamon rolls is where that
cinnamon
came up.
rolls. Yeah, our cinnamon rolls. When I use King Arthur's weight, oh man, my dough was hard to handle. It was runny. It was
Hmm.
tough. I had to work that out for a while, but yeah, but it just backs up the point that consistency means everything in cooking, and you don't have control of the consistency when meat's involved because
No.
you don't that cow is not genetically the same cow as the last one you cooked from, and it may not have been raised the same way. It may have been fed differently. So uh,
There's so many variables that
Andrew
you
said
just
Canadian
pray.
flour. Yeah, well, there's a lot of difference in flours here too. You have to stick with what you know. And one of the things I do when I'm baking with flour, I try to use the same flour every time. I use
Yep.
the King Arthur organic all-purpose flour. That's my favorite flour to use. And if I want bread flour, I use King Arthur bread flour as well. King Arthur's flours are a little higher protein. King Arthur's regular all-purpose flour has about the same protein content as the gold medal bread flour. So there's that. But if you don't mix and don't use different brands of flour every time you cook, find one you like and stick with it. That way you'll know what to expect from it. Beef's the same way, but once again, you're going to run into differences. You're going to get meat that doesn't behave the way you want it to. So, Jeff,
Be that as it may, it was still good.
what else did you cook this week besides that prime rib?
Well, I turned the prime rib into after 2 days of eating on it. I turned it into Philly cheesesteaks. Those came out great. And
Did you
then
slice it or did you dice it?
no, man, I sliced it, man. I put it on the slicer and shaved it thin, and then grilled it up with
Speaking
onions
of
and
that,
mushrooms.
how are you? Are you happy with that slicer? How you doing
I
with
love
that?
that slicer. That slicer's
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Well, it was
I wish
too
it had a
big.
little bigger bed on it.
That was the number two thing I didn't like about it. It's the food tray on it's not large enough.
Yeah,
That I didn't like because I couldn't do bacon long enough to suit me off of pieces of pork
yeah,
belly.
yeah.
But
You have to cut a pork belly in half in order to do bacon on it.
I have limited space here in my man cave kitchen, and that slicer was just too big for me. I'm still thinking about the Burkell that they have at Atlanta Grill Company. That's in the back of my mind. It's something I might like to play with at some point, but I'm glad that one's working out. Uh, the next thing I cooked this week was chicken. So, and also when I was at Atlanta Grill Company last week, I picked up the other two sizes of these Drip Easy prep tubs that I didn't have, and this is the small one, and it was perfect for my chicken prep. But it's deceiving here. This is a large chicken. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Case Farms, but they're a huge chicken processing company, and they have a processing plant 10 miles from here. And at that processing plant, they have a shop that I can go in and I can get fresh chicken. This is a 7.5 pound chicken, and I like getting these when I can because they're fresh. The only problem here is these chickens have not been injected with the brine like most chickens have. And this chicken really, if I was going to cook this to serve it as chicken, I would have brined this guy for 24 hours first in a saltwater brine. But these chickens, the thing I like about them is they've been air chilled and they're fresh. They've never been frozen. And this one, like I said, weighed 7.5 pounds. It was a big bird. And my objective, this is my video cook for this week. I just published this earlier today, but I made smoked chicken salad. So I fired up the bark, but I prepped this chicken with the Atlanta Grill Company Big Chicken rub. That's a rub of the month this month, and it's a really great poultry rub. I gave it a nice douse, and I used my turbo trusser also to hold this guy together because you guys know I love that one too. So shout out to Atlanta Grill Company on those 3 products. The Drip Easy tubs, prep tubs, amazing. The turbo trussers, $15. In fact, I want to get some more of these chicken-sized turbo trussers because I like cooking more than one chicken at a time. And this Atlanta Grill Company Big Chicken rub is amazing. So I tossed it on. I had the bark. What I decided to do is I ran the bark at 250. I wanted to put some smoke on this chicken. So 250, I decided I was going to cook it till it got up over 100 degrees internal. And here we are at this point, I'm 2 hours into the cook, and I'm at about 102 or 103 degrees in the deep part of the breast here. So at this point, I decided we're gonna ramp the temp up. I ran the temp on the bark up to 400 degrees, and because I wanted to finish that skin out a little bit. And here's a little video I had of that chicken being close to done. And guys, that thing's beautiful. That skin is just perfect on this chicken. And at 400, when I ramped the temperature up to 400 degrees, I ended up going for about another hour. And I brought that chicken up to an internal temperature of 150. That's where I pull my chicken off. I don't let it go past 150 on the grill. And sometimes I'll even pull it off at 146 or 147, because if I'm cooking hot like that, if I'm up at 400 degrees, that carryover cooking's gonna go at least 10 degrees. And I don't like to dry out the breast meat on these chickens. And you can see here, you can almost see that skin has got a nice texture right here in the picture. So at this point, I took it off the grill. I wrapped it in foil. Well, I didn't put all the pictures I should have put in here. I wrapped it in foil, and I set it on a pan, and I just left it outside, and I let it rest for an hour because I wanted it to cool down. And what I did, this video's up on Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page and YouTube channels if you want to see the entire process. But I let it rest for an hour to let it cool down and let it, stabilize. And then what I did was I just broke the chicken into leg quarters, wings, and I took the breasts off the carcass. And then I tore all of the meat and skin off the bones. And then I took one of my chef's knives and I just chopped it to a consistency that I like. And some people like chicken salad chunkier than others, and I'm one of the ones that likes a chunky chicken salad. So that's what I wanted to do. And here's what it looks like done. But the dressing I made for this chicken salad, I used the Atlanta Grill Company white sauce, which is kind of I'm not going to say it's a clone. I'm going to say it's a first cousin of Chris Lilly from Big Bob Gibson Barbecue down in Alabama. It's an Alabama white sauce that's mayonnaise based. And I decided I wanted to make my dressing based with that sauce. And so once I had all my chicken chopped up in a big stainless steel mixing bowl. I dumped a good bit of that sauce in there. I ended up using, for the amount of chicken I had, I used almost the whole bottle of white sauce. But in the video, I speak specifically about create the texture you like. Add sauce until you have the creaminess or texture that you like in a chicken salad. And then I put in about 2 more tablespoons of the big chicken rub. I've got diced celery in here. I've got diced shallots and diced jalapeno pepper. And I just stirred that up and put it back in the refrigerator and let it marinate. And it's absolutely delicious. It's really good. Uh, Chicken salad, guys, is like, it's like meatloaf. You can put in it whatever you like. I'm not one that likes fruits and nuts in my chicken salad. My mom would want grapes and almonds in hers. If I was making this for mom, I'd have to put that in there. I know a lot of people like a lot of different things in their chicken salad. Jeff, do you like chicken salad?
Absolutely.
What do you like in yours?
Put onion, some green onion sometimes, substitute that out for the onion, a little bit of celery, just about what you're making there.
Yep.
Every
I've
now and
done
then I'll throw a little pickle relish in, sweet pickle relish.
Yeah, I did another smoked chicken salad video on Atlanta Grill Company's page a long time ago where I use the recipe that I normally use. And my recipe has my dressing that I make starts out with a mixture of mayo and sour cream, or you could do it with just sour cream if you wanted to make it lighter. But there's Dijon mustard. I put Dijon mustard in that dressing as well, which brings another flavor level. I didn't want to do that. I didn't think the Dijon mustard was going to work well with the white sauce here from Atlanta Grill Company. It may have, but that white sauce has a sweetness to it that I didn't want to offend that sweetness by putting mustard in this. And this particular recipe has a beautiful sweetness to it. I'm hoping some of you will look at that video and try this because it's really good.
John, I'll give you a new twist on that chicken salad.
What's that?
Get Publix fried chicken, cut it up with the breading and all, make a chicken salad sandwich. Oh, baby.
Well, that would be good. And Beth, yeah, Dijon mustard would be good here. And like I said, normally when I do my own chicken salad, that's part of the dressing that I make and I like to use the whole grain mustard, not necessarily Dijon. I like the seeds. I like to have those in there, and there's
The
not a
German
whole
style
lot of,
mustard.
yeah, there's a lot there's another deli style mustard that I really like, that Nathan's. The people that make the hot dogs, they have 2 different varieties of mustard, and I love both of them. And those would work well here. But it's one of these things that you can try, and do whatever, put what you like in it. You don't have to follow what I've done, and if you like chicken salad, experiment with it. You could put hot sauce, you could add hot sauce to that. You could add cayenne pepper. You could add any kind of spicy peppers you like or not. Don't put spicy peppers. Jeff talked about putting a pickle relish in there. That'd be good too. I love the dill, or the Vlasic makes it. I think, is that one of the brands that makes that hot dog relish? That stuff's awesome. It's a
That
flavor.
and get the hearty garlic. That's what I
Yeah,
usually use, is the hearty garlic rather than the sweet relish. That is awesome.
yeah, it's crazy good, but there's no limitation to what you can pull off with that. It's got a lot of possibilities. And chicken salad, man. And somebody commented they had never thought. Janice said she had never considered making chicken salad with a roasted chicken. Janice, you should not just roast it, but smoke it. Put even if you're and when I did, the only reason I took mine up to 400 degrees is because I was planning to chop that skin up. I chopped that skin as well, put that in my chicken salad. But if you're not going to put the skin in your chicken salad, just let it smoke at 250. Don't worry about taking it up, because if you're going to take the skin off, you'd rather have more smoke than worrying about crisping that skin up. And this chicken, when I was slicing that breast up before I chopped it, there's a smoke ring in there. You can see the little smoke ring in the chicken. And I was cooking with hickory pellets, so and hickory. We'll have a conversation about pellets again sometime soon too, Jeff, because my philosophy on my favorite pellets may be changing since I got the bark. I'm playing around with that. Yeah, Janice, be sure and post about it. I want to see what you come up with, because, guys, Janice, I don't know if all of you know Janice Berger, but she's another one of these people that shows up here on Friday nights that can cook circles around me. So
turns out some pretty stuff. Let me tell you.
I want to have Janice come on with us some night, because I'd like to hear firsthand. I like to get her to describe some of her cooks to me. She's crazy, guys. And Janice, I know Janice is coming to Atlanta Grill Company in June, so there's another reason. If you're on the fence about coming to Atlanta Grill Company's event on June 4th, come on down, because I think Janice is going to be there. I heard from a reliable source that she's going to be there. So, oh boy, Jeff, that's all that's left of that bottle of Blanton's. And you know what, guys? Blanton's is a highly sought after bourbon. Dennis, thank you. I've been working very hard at it. I'm somewhere between 65 and 70 pounds down. And Jeff, how much have you lost?
35.
Well, Jeff hasn't lost as much as I have, because, damn it, Jeff wasn't as fat as I was to start with. Jeff doesn't have that much to lose.
If I lost 65, I wouldn't be around.
Janice says she's coming. So there you have it, guys. Janice is going to be there in June, and I'm so looking forward to meeting Janice. I am, absolutely. So, Janice, we're gonna have a meal together no matter what happens. If that's all we get to do, I'm looking forward to meeting you when you come. So, Andrew's got a daughter graduating college. Andrew, yeah, that's an event that's far more important than the Atlanta Grill Company. There will be more Atlanta Grill Company events, and hopefully there will be one in December. I'll talk. Beth, you should come. Beth, come on down. I know you want to. June the 4th, Roswell, Georgia. Freddie, I haven't met my goal yet, and I have to be honest with you. I'm teetering on that idea now. We'll talk about it. Oh, Freddie, guys, Freddie's gonna be there. I'm gonna finally get to meet Freddie. Freddie is coming down he's gonna be repping Alpha Ovens, and guys, Freddie has forgotten more about making pizza than I'm ever going to know. So if you want to see a real pizza master at work, Freddie's going to be there.
Taught me everything I know. My pizza game is right on the money now.
Yeah, we're going to have a crew down there. Michael Stone from Alpha is going to be there, and Freddie's going to be there. I don't know who else from Alpha might be showing up, but I'm looking. Brian, you're coming. Good deal. But yeah, Freddie's going to come down and show us how to make pizza, and I'm looking forward to getting some hands-on maybe with Freddie, making some pizzas that day. Beth says maybe, yeah, Beth's coming down. Awesome. Looking good. Awesome. The soldier's officially dead. Yeah, Ryan,
okay, good
idea. Eric, Chef Eric, Eric may be back stateside now. I'm not sure. Chef Eric hopped on a plane and went to do some. I'm still hopefully going to try to find a way to get Eric to come back on with me, because I'd like for Eric to tell us about that trip. I'm sure he's got a ton of photographs, but I'd be more than willing to give Eric full run here to show and talk about that. Eric went and volunteered with a group called World Central Kitchen, which this is a group of people that provide food and meals to people in need, and Eric went and volunteered with these people. I think Eric was in Poland. I'm not sure if he was actually in the Ukraine. He was in Poland feeding
on the border
preparing meals for Ukrainian refugees who had fled the Ukraine into Poland. And he's posted a few pictures on social media. I haven't seen a whole lot, and I'm sure his internet access over there may have been spotty or limited or non-existent in some cases. But I think Eric, he may be done. I'm not sure if he's back yet or not. I haven't talked to Eric in a while, so but I do know he was over there.
He's posted more on Instagram than he has on Facebook.
Right, and that's normally what he does. He's not spending much time on Facebook anymore. He is doing most of his stuff on Instagram. So if you're not following Chef Eric, I'll find a link and I'll share it. Make sure everybody's following him there. But explain pastrami and the other brisket dish people make at St. Patrick's Day. What's the other brisket dish besides pastrami?
Corned beef.
Corned beef. Okay.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, Janice, corned beef and pastrami are the same thing. They're just prepared they're finished differently. It's the same cured brisket, but pastrami is smoked and then either steamed or braised, and corned beef is only steamed. Am I right on that, Jeff?
Yep.
Corned beef does not get any smoke, and pastrami does. That's the only real difference in the two. So anyway, a kitchen hack for the grillers. Yeah, Freddie, I'm really looking forward to meeting you. So yeah, we'll find a way to get in some sort of trouble after hours at this event. I know this subject right here may be taboo.
Oh no, the grilled rice.
And Dolores says she's aging in the fridge with the my bag. Dolores, you're gonna love that. Let us know how it goes. I bought a 15 plus pound whole prime rib on that stuff that was on sale at Publix that I've got in my dry aging locker right now. That's going to go for 45 days. I'm looking forward to cutting all that into steaks. But this picture right here, this is a taboo subject with a lot of people. I want to talk about it for a moment. This is a wire bristle grill brush. This is what I like. I like these things because they do a better job than anything else I've used, and I've used a lot. I've used about every kind of grill brush known to man at one time or another. These grill brushes catch a lot of bad press, especially this time of year. And in May, in late April and early May, you'll see the story pop back up again where you'll see pictures of x-rays where there's a wire bristle caught in somebody's throat or stomach. And I'm not denying that happens. These bristles might pop off. They might get on your grill. They might get in your food, but I want to tell you a couple of things. The first thing, the main reason, let me talk about what I've got here in the picture first. This came up yesterday in a post somewhere on Facebook, and it made me think to do this. This is one of my older ones. It's real dirty. It's gunked up really bad with grease and grime from the grill grates. And a lot of times when these things get this way, people will throw their brush away and buy a new one, which is perfectly fine because these things aren't expensive. Great quality ones are $10 or less. You'll find them for $5 if you look around. But this one right here is really gunked up bad to where it doesn't work well. Well, guys, don't throw this thing away. You can clean this very easily. The next picture here, OxiClean. This OxiClean may be the best degreaser I've seen in my entire life. So what I did was I took a mixing bowl, a stainless steel mixing bowl, and I dissolved 1/4 cup of OxiClean in some hot water and got it all dissolved really well. And I dropped my brush in there and let it soak in that hot water for 30 minutes or so. And just after soaking for 30 minutes or so, you can see this. I haven't moved it. That's what's come out on its own in just 30 minutes or so. And then I got my sprayer on the sink with some hot water and sprayed that guy out. And this thing, all that grease is gone out of there now. And this brush has got some life left in it. So it's not necessary to throw that away if you've got a little OxiClean on hand. But the bristles, Okay, what I'm going to admit is yes, those bristles can come off. They can, and I'm sure they do. But in order for you to consume one of those bristles, a lot of things have to happen. And here's my thought. And Jeff, I want you to listen to what I'm going to say here because I want your feedback on it. I want you to contradict me. I want you to figure out a way to contradict me here to figure out how somebody can ingest one of these bristles. Okay. My grill, if you've ever watched my videos, if you look at my grill grates in any given video, my grill grates are clean. Now, why are my grill grates? They may be black, but they're clean. They do not have grease and grime and gunk buildup on my grill grates. The reason they don't is because I use these wire bristle brushes on my grill grates. I try most of the time to brush my grill grate down right after I take the food off while everything's still hot inside the grill. That's the best time to get it off. If you let it cool, it's harder to get off. But I brush it down so my grill grates are fairly clean. If your grill grates are clean like mine are, those bristles, if they come off, they've got to have something to stick to. That wire bristle's not going to stick to a clean grill grate. Jeff, how would you think one of these bristles is going to get on my food and get in my body? How can that happen if my grates are clean?
John, you and I share the same. I'm sorry, I can't contradict you. If you've got your stuff clean, I don't see how in the heck somebody is getting a piece of wire ingested. I just don't see it. I mean,
well, if your grates are gunked up with last year's cooks that never got, you know how many times I've heard people say don't clean your grill grates? That's flavor.
yeah.
I mean, if you heard that, okay, it is flavor. It's just bad flavor. It's rancid fat and rancid grease, and I don't want that on my food. I don't, and that's why I keep my grill grates clean.
Obviously, they have been very lucky and not had a case of food poisoning because I'll tell you what,
Well,
rancid
I wouldn't
grease,
be worried
you'll
about
remember that
poisoning.
one.
Yeah, I'm not worried about food poisoning because that grate's going to get hot enough that there's no living organism going to survive that. So,
Well,
and Cindy,
did you
yeah, a
see
lot of people
Steven's
do
post
that
this week, John?
about Stephen.
Yeah, about let's see if I can get that about that little guy right there.
I've seen that before, and I know Stephen's got one of those.
Yeah, he just got it. That just came out. I'm going to get me one of those
Okay,
because I really like the chainmail.
I don't have that, but I've got one of these. That's it's a chain.
Yeah, I've got that
rubber.
one.
This one I use if I've got a build up on cast iron. This stays on the back of my sink, but you could use this on your grill also. And
Yeah, but that's a little hot. At least this one has a handle. Stephen Hickey's been using it, and he swears he loves it. So I'm going to get one of those and give it a shot.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, you get it, you try it. I guess if Stephen loves it, it might be worth trying. If Stephen's not with us tonight, I haven't seen Stephen comment here. Stephen, if you're here, tell me about that thing. This one, I got this for Christmas. I was complaining about this. I saw one of these at a Lodge factory store, and I was complaining about how much it cost. And you know what? You know what happened when I was complaining to my wife about how much they cost? She bought me one.
I'll tell you what, that's the greatest thing for cleaning your cast iron.
Well, I don't. The only time I use it on my cast iron is if I've got stuff burnt on there that's not coming off easily. I clean my cast iron with this guy.
Yep, that's what I used to.
This is what I use to scrub out my cast iron with, and that guy gets a lot of action because most of the time I just clean my cast iron under hot water with that brush. Then I wipe it down and I oil it and put it away.
Mine will be in Sunday, so I'll let you know how it is because Sunday I'll be doing some cook.
I'm curious. If you love it, then I'll look at one. How much are they?
They're expensive. They're $29, but I mean it's one of those things that you shouldn't ever have to replace.
Well, that's what I'm curious about because these guys, as much grilling as I do, I go through about four of these a year.
Yeah, that's about what I do.
about 4 of those wire brushes a year. Brian, they are good. I've got a couple of them. In fact, I've got one around here somewhere that I've used that's got the Atlanta Grill Company logo uh, burned on it that they sell in
But
Atlanta.
Brian, they're not good at first.
Yeah,
You got to use them a couple times to get that.
you have to cut your grooves in it. You have to
Right.
get
It's
it
got to
from
cut
your
those grooves
grill.
into the wood for it to do its thing. So the first couple of times it's not that good, but once you get the grooves cut, it does a good job.
I did that as a gadget of the week one time here on our live stream because one time when I was at Atlanta Grill Company early in the year or late last year, or it was been early this year, Jason gave me one of those and said, "Here, try this out." They do work well.
And the
The
nice thing
only,
about them is all you're replacing is the very end piece of it, the handle.
yeah,
Uh, you keep. So it's a small price for a replacement. But I'm looking
right.
forward to seeing this chainmail because, like I said, I love it for my cast iron,
Hmm.
and he says that he uses the edge to go in between the grates and the flat to go on top of the grates, and he says they come out great. So I'm looking forward to
Right.
trying it.
So yeah, yeah, I'm curious to see how it works. If you think it's awesome, then I'll pick one up and we'll talk about it. I'm not going to buy one just yet. Uh, I'm so I've tried a lot of things. There's a company that makes these wire brushes that the wire is a loop where it's all one single wire, and
Hmm.
I bought one of those because I said if that thing works great, then I'm gonna switch to that because there's no way a piece of that can ever come off. But they don't. Mine, I don't think worked as well as this. And Eric, I get the underside of the grate at the same time if there's stuff on it. The thing about these wire bristle brushes, if you're using them properly, it comes around that grate and it kind of gets the underside as you're doing it because they those bristles are long enough that they come down on get most of the underside. And if it doesn't, then when the grate cools off, I'll flip it over and brush, the major stuff off of it. That's a good question though. So what else have we got? I promise guys, we're not going to cruise an hour and a half tonight. We're going to get off of here shortly. We're not going to go
I
crazy
don't
on.
understand Tom's I use it. I don't know what he's referring to, the wooden grate or the other one. Oh, the grill grate. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that wire one works good on the grill grate. It gets in between those
Well, let
grooves
me tell
very
you,
nicely.
Grill Grate's a little different animal. Grill Grate makes a grill cleaner brush that's designed to work
Yeah.
on the grill grates, and my recommendation is to buy that one. That is one of the continuous, I think it is one of the continuous wire ones,
Hmm.
and they work really well because it does get down in the channels and cleans inside there as well, and that's important on a grill grate. You don't want crud building up in those channels because it won't heat evenly if you do that. And that reminds me of another thing. I need to see about getting grill grates for this PK 300. None of my grill grates that I have will fit that. And I also need to see about getting some grill grates that I can try out on this bark. Do you have grill grates for the bark, Jeff?
I use the one that I have for my Kamado on the bark, and it works just fine.
Okay, I'm gonna have to play with that. The You got one of the half moon grates for the Kamado?
Yeah.
Well, I've got some other pieces of grill grates. Maybe I can put something on there and see how it pans out. But I
Now, if
need
you go to the mixing store, they've got grill grates for the bark.
Okay, they got the right
It's a
length.
well, it doesn't cover the whole surface. It's a piece that goes in there.
Okay. All right. I haven't done that yet, but I need to see about that because I want to play around with seeing what I can turn out with a sear on a bark by taking the heat shield out.
Yeah, when I did mine on the bark, I did not take the heat shield out when I did the lamb chops that time, and I got good
Right.
grill marks on it. I mean, you crank it up to the high temperature and put it in there and let it get its heat saturation, and it'll work.
Janice says the classic size soapstone will fit on the PK 300, which that brings up another question for me. I've got one of the rectangular shaped baking steels. I'm wondering if that thing will work on the PK 300. I'll have to try that. Anthony says his divide and conquer metal retainer ring is caked heavily. What is your recommendation for cleaning those? Uh,
I like that Dawn heavy duty cleaner, the one that's in the spray bottle.
I would put
That stuff
easy
works
off
good.
on it. I'd put easy off on it. I'd put it. I'd douse. I'd spray that thing down with easy off oven cleaner. Put it in a plastic bag and tie that plastic bag off and let it sit for 24 hours, and then take a put some rubber gloves on and take a scouring pad and wipe it down. It'll come clean. I've not tried that Dawn stuff. That Dawn Power Wash. Is that what it's
Yeah.
called, Jeff?
Yeah. It works good.
I haven't tried that yet, but I know Easy Off will take it
Yeah.
off.
I mean, if it's super cake, yeah, you want to go the easy off. If it's not super cake, that Dawn works good. I mean, it really cuts into it.
Hmm. Or leave it in there when you're doing a high temp burn off on your grill. That should take care of it or allow you to scrape it off.
You
All
know, I
right.
say I don't do too many high temp burn offs on my grill.
I don't either, but well, my classic two that I do all my non meat cooking on, I don't do it at all on that one anymore. But the meat grill, it depends on what I'm cooking. If I do a whole bunch of low and slows on the Kamado Joe, I have to do it occasionally.
All my low and slows are on the bark now, so
Yeah. Well, I'm still trying to give some love to everything. I'm not going to quit
well,
cooking on the Kamado Joes. And guys, I don't want you to think that I love the bark. I still love my Kamado Joes also.
oh, absolutely.
I'm trying to spend right. I do admit I'm spending more video time on the bark right now because that I'm hoping to help promote that grill a little more because I think that is a awesome grill. I think that's something everybody should
For
consider.
pellet smokers, I put that thing up against any pellet smoker out
Yeah,
there. I
if you're
really
looking
do.
for a high end pellet smoker, this is one you need to look at.
And the nice
Uh,
thing about it is, not only it's a high end pellet smoker, okay? Excuse me, but you buy this thing and it's going to be one of those grills that you can pass down to generations.
yeah.
It's not one of those a year later you're going to find out on your curb, for the garbage men to pick up. It's
Dennis,
not
I
that type
haven't
of a
I
grill.
haven't put grates in the dishwasher before. I have not. Have you, Jeff?
My grates, no. Don't want to mess up the dishwasher.
Lamb roast, 300 degrees or low and slow. To me, 300 degrees is low and slow. You're still in the low
Yeah.
and slow range at 300. Um,
Lamb roast, I
uh,
like throwing on the rotisserie.
a lamb. If he's talking about a leg of lamb, is that what we're talking about with a lamb roast?
It could be a boneless. It could be a boneless roast. They've got those at Costco, and
A
they work
boneless
great on
leg
the
of lamb?
rotisserie too.
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those things. I've only done a few legs of lamb, and I'd like to do another one. But once again, guys, I'm the only person in my family on either side who will eat lamb. A boneless leg. Uh, I did I did a boneless leg of lamb roast on the Kamado Joe YouTube channel a very long time ago, and I butterflied that thing. I rolled it out and I stuffed it with some onions and blue cheese and a bunch of other goodness and rolled that thing back up and I took it to I think I took the internal temperature of that guy up to about 140. I decided to stay on the low side rather than taking it to fork pull apart tender. You've got two options with lamb like that, and there's in between it's inedible.
Yeah.
You got to stay below a medium temperature on it if you want it to be tender, or you got to take it on up above 195 degrees. Anywhere in the middle there, it's going to be like undercooked brisket. It's tough, and I don't understand that about that meat, but I guess it's the same sort of situation you run into with your working muscles because that's a working muscle on a deer. That leg, Jeff. Have you cooked lamb on both sides?
Nope. I haven't cooked it on both sides. I like cooking it to my 125, 130 range, in there, and then letting it go from there. I'm not too fond of doing the leg of lamb. I'd much rather do the rack of lamb or the lamb
Yeah,
chops.
rack of lamb. I love that.
Lamb lollipops. I mean,
Yeah,
when my 6-year-old granddaughter says, "Poppy, will you make me some lamb lollipops?" You
yeah.
know they're good.
And cook it. I cook those rare. I'd like to have
Yep.
those done at 120 to 125. That is a sweet spot there. Uh, Anthony, Easter Sunday for me, I'll be eating either fast food or leftovers or a frozen meal at work on Sunday. I work what I call a real job on the weekends, so I'm not uh, I'm not having an Easter meal with anybody. I kind of miss out on that. Lamb. That's the only time a year here in the United States that lamb seems to be popular is Easter. People do lambs and they do hams. Jeff, are you guys having an Easter meal?
I don't know if we are or not. Because we have some friends coming in next week, so I'm doing a rack of lamb next week, doing some lamb chops, pork tenderloin,
Yeah.
or pork tenderloins, I should say. I got a
Let's
lot of
bring.
cooking going on next week.
Let's wake Tanya up.
Yeah, she's been yawning down there.
Yeah.
I have been yawning.
Yeah, Tanya, we're about done. So I'm promise I'm not gonna run long like we did last week
Oh my
and
God,
every
that was
every week before.
awful. And after I had been with all those kids
Yeah. Well, we're
performing
done.
already.
I don't have anything else. So
John, have you tried G.
Hey,
Hughes's
Janice.
Yum Yum sauce yet?
no, do they have? I didn't know they had one.
Oh yeah, buddy. Let me tell you what, you got to try it.
I will.
I don't know if you're aware. Not only do they have the barbecue sauces, they have the Yum Yum sauce. Then they have their own salad dressing sauces.
I haven't seen their salad dressings. All I've got, I buy the hickory flavored barbecue sauce, and I've
That's
got a
great.
bottle of their steak sauce.
That
But
steak sauce is out of the world.
if they've got yum yum sauce, I'll pick some of that up for next time I make shrimp.
Yep. That Yum Yum sauce is it's good. I tell you
Yeah,
what, I haven't found a G. Hughes sauce yet that I haven't liked, and like you and I, the reason why we're got onto the G. Hughes is because the keto,
yeah, it's low
and
carb.
they excellent keto.
Well, that G Hughes hickory barbecue sauce, I like it as good as any bottled barbecue sauce I've ever bought.
Yeah,
Janet,
Janice, Yum Yum sauce.
yum yum sauce is like a shrimp sauce. If you're familiar with that, if
Like at
you
the
ever had
Japanese
shrimp sauce,
restaurant.
yeah, shrimp sauce from a Chinese place, it's like yum yum sauce. That's what it is basically. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to try that. I love yum yum sauce.
I tell you
And
what, this is good Yum Yum sauce, and it is only one carb.
Tanya, one of the back when Tanya and I first got together, Tanya cooked a meal for me somewhere, and she made some of that from scratch. She made a she made shrimp sauce from scratch, and it, it was delicious.
It was our first Thanksgiving that we were dating. I had invited you over for Thanksgiving dinner, and
Yep,
I made Japanese food.
it was good. We had fried rice and some other stuff, and yeah, but that's
Yeah,
what
the
yum
clear
yum
onion
sauce is.
soup. Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one before. My I'll have to look for it because I don't know.
That's for
Yeah,
Janice, who makes that.
Yeah.
it's called G Hughes. Show her the brand name on there. Turn that bottle a little bit.
There you go.
There you go.
If you go to your Publix has he has a teriyaki, he has a hickory, he has a sweet, he has a vinegar. He has one other. I forget what the other one is for barbecue sauces, and he has the Yum Yum sauce. Then he has a ranch, an Italian, and some other. And his ketchup
Actually,
is good too.
I do have some of his honey mustard. I do
Yeah,
have a
honey
bottle of
mustard.
that.
Have you had his ketchup yet?
Uh, I've got a bottle of it, but I haven't opened it yet.
I tell you what, it's good.
Yeah, I bought some, but I haven't tried it. So, but yeah, next week I think I'm going to do that. Burn.
Amazon has it all, Janice.
Yeah, you should be able to find that locally, Janice, because my local Walmart has several varieties of the G
Yeah.
Hughes stuff available.
Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Publix, Kroger has
Yeah,
it.
you shouldn't have trouble finding that. If I can find it, I guarantee you can find it. That's a good measure right there. If John can get it at a grocery store, you can too.
If John can get it in Valdez, you can get it in Texas.
That's exactly right. So,
I'm
But
just
but
all right.
seriously, he's got a good line, and the sauce is really good. I say, particularly if you're on a diet and you're looking, watching your sugars and whatnot, or
And
your carbs.
barbecue sauces, guys, good barbecue sauces are full of sugar. That's why they're so good. But this
Hmm.
one, I don't know what he's sweetening with. He might be sweetening with monk fruit. I haven't looked at the ingredients in it. It might be erythritol also. I don't know, but uh, it's good, and it's the hickory barbecue sauce has four. I usually use a half a cup of that when I'm using it, and it's got like a half a cup serving of it's only got like 4 grams of carbs.
Yep.
Tanya, there's a question for you here.
yeah. I don't know yet, Janice. I haven't really made up my mind 100%. That weekend is also Pokemon Go Fest weekend, which you
I'll
can
tell
do
you, Janice.
anywhere. But John is like, "Don't go, Tanya. You'll be bored."
No, I have made it clear to Tanya she's welcome to come. I will feel guilty if she comes because Tanya will be bored to death. And I'm gonna this trip down there for me is gonna be 3 days. I'm leaving Thursday morning because Jeff and I are gonna go down to Myron Mixon's place on Thursday, and I'm gonna visit those people with Jeff, and then I'm going to spend Thursday night in Roswell, and Friday I'm gonna hang out in Roswell all day. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna make myself available to Chef Eric if he needs prep help, and then I'm gonna be there all day Saturday at the event, and then I'm going to come home Sunday morning. And Tanya's not as interested in this stuff as we are. So I would really feel guilty if I drag her down there because she's going to be bored to death. So I've made it abundantly clear she's welcome to come, but I'm actually encouraging her not to come. So that's the
Has
story
Kevin
there.
gone to bed already? Kevin is snuggled in with Mama.
Yeah.
Oh, we all love Kevin.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Kevin's cool.
Janice, feel free to give John a hug.
I give out hugs for free,
Yeah,
and
I
Tanya won't have a
charge.
problem with that.
I don't. I don't. I know who's John's number one girl, and I know he doesn't have any side chicks because he takes me to Walmart, and that's what their
There,
joke is. We saw that on Facebook. I know.
there was
I
Yeah,
know
some
he
yeah.
meme.
doesn't
There
have
was
any
some meme
side
on
chicks, but he
Facebook.
takes you to Walmart.
Yeah, there was some meme on Facebook that said that. It says, he doesn't have any side chicks if he takes you to Walmart.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Oh
Yep.
boy. Yep. But Stephen Hickey's going to be there. Uh, the only one of our crew that I know is not going to be there is Luca. Luca
Is
is
Gerben going to
going.
be there?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Gerben said something about he may be in Europe, but I don't think he said for sure one way or the other. But I know Luca's not going to be there. Luca's got a family vacation in Italy that week, and I know Luca's not going to be there. But
Yeah, I tried to get him to cancel it, but he wouldn't.
no, I wouldn't cancel that either because Luca's got family over there,
Yeah.
and but Steven's coming. Uh, Me and Jeff obviously are going to be there. I think Gerben's probably going to be there. I don't know if uh, Mark, both Marks, Mark Ashby, I think said he was coming, and Mark Garwatowski, I can't remember if he was going to make it or not.
I don't
Mark's
remember
here.
about Mark. I know Ashby said he was coming for sure.
Yeah, a lot of our little crew, most of them, I think, are going to be able to make it. I know Steven's coming, so But
Yeah,
guys,
you and I need to get together and discuss how we want to do that. If we want to meet in Atlanta and then drive back to Myron Mixon, or meet at Myron Mixon,
uh,
we need to figure that out.
well, we can do it either way. If you want to come to Atlanta and have me pick you up there, that's fine. Or
No,
I can just
I'll
meet you.
pick you up. You can ride in the beast, the wildebeest.
Okay, well, I hate for you to have to drive to Roswell and then drive back down there. But we can do whatever you want to do. I'm good with it either way. So, but we need to get there early. Uh, that's a. I want to get Jeff. You're crazy if you want to try to do that in one day. If you want to try to drive from your place to Roswell, back to Unadilla, and back to Roswell, that's a lot of driving.
Hey, I have driven to Roswell and back home in a day.
Yeah, Fran, come on out. We'll make room for you. Road trips are the best. Yeah, Tanya and I road trip all the time. In fact, we talked today about this summer at some point. Tanya's going to be home all summer. We're going to road trip back to Vermont. We're going to go back to the King Arthur place up in Vermont at some point this summer. It'll be a weekday trip. We're going to run up there and visit the King Arthur shop again. We did that on our honeymoon. That was the farthest point north I think we went, up in I can't remember the name of the town. What is it, Tanya?
Norwich.
Norwich, Vermont. Yeah, we're going to drive up there, and we'll probably spend one night along the way, one night there, and another night on the way back. So,
My
yeah,
longest road trip, John, has been from Orlando to Raleigh, North Carolina. Packed up my sister-in-law and drove back
yeah,
without
in a
sleeping
day.
in a day.
That's crazy.
Janice, it's truly fabulous. It was like when we were planning our honeymoon, John was like, well, I want to go to the baseball. I want to go to Cooperstown. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and we were like, and then he's like, maybe Hershey, Pennsylvania. And I'm like, yeah, I like John.
Well, the way we worked it out, we hit every single New England state north of North
Wasn't paying
Carolina
attention.
on that road trip. But we went out of our way coming home to catch Rhode Island. We
Yeah,
did.
full disclosure, John was in charge of the honeymoon and he kind of forgot to plan it. So it was a seat of your pants
Yeah.
adventure.
We didn't make the only reservations we made on that trip were the place in Norwich. There was a specific bed and breakfast that Tanya wanted to stay in up there. So I made reservations for
Yeah.
that. And we made the rest of our reservations as we went. And I
Yeah.
think we ended up saving a lot of money because we got some really great hotel rates booking them at the last minute.
I never book anything in advance, John.
Yeah.
When we go on a road trip, we go until we're ready to pull over, and then we
Yep.
get a room.
That's
And we've
true.
always gotten great rates. And Fran, 2019 Tesla, and you only have 11,000 kilometers on it, honey, you need to drive it more because my 2022 Outback Wilderness is less than 5 months old and it's got 12,000 miles on it already.
My
And I don't even
2000
want to ask how many miles Tanya has on her.
Amateurs.
my 2017 Crosstrek's got 120K on it. So Tanya, we need to check. I need to check your mileage, Tanya, because you're probably about ready for another oil change.
Yeah, I'm up around 45.
Okay.
And you've had it
All
how
right.
long, Tanya? How many months?
What, since not last November, but the November before, so about a
It's
year and a half.
15 months old.
Which is really what's so funny about this is, my
I'll be
beloved
there.
2002 LL Bean Subaru Outback Timberline
Yeah.
Green Pearl, that was my dream car. It took me from 2002 till I bought the new one to put close to 250,000 miles on it.
Yep.
They were joking I wasn't driving enough, and now I drive it to death.
All righty. Guys, we got to shut down. We weren't going to go long, and here we are at an hour and 20 minutes. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Come to Nova Scotia. Yeah, Andrew, we should. How far? I want to go to. There's a town in Nova Scotia that's a little bay town that I want to go to, and I can't remember the name of it, but I've seen some beautiful photographs of this place. Tanya, do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. It's the one on the southeast side of Nova Scotia.
What's that place called?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
Does it
Is
have
it?
ghosts?
I can't remember what it's called.
I know which one you're talking about.
We could. Tanya, get your passport updated. Get your passport renewed.
Yeah, I got to do that first.
Yeah. It's not Oak Island. Peggy's Cove. That's it. I believe that's it. That is it. Yeah, we need to do that. So anyway, guys, we got to shut down. I appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll be back next Friday night. I'll see if I can. I'm gonna see if I can rattle Chef Eric's cage. Like I said, I don't know if he's back stateside yet or not. Jeff, do you know if he's back in the States?
I don't think he is, John. I mean, I saw his Instagram from yesterday or the day before, and he was still, shooting pictures from up there. So I'm not sure.
Well, I'll invite him back.
I also said earlier that he was still over there.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's been. I remember when he was going, he was posting about going, but the posts since he's been there have been limited. So I know he's been busy and he's probably been tired. So anyway, guys, appreciate it. We'll be back next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll wing it just like we do every Friday night. So y'all have a good one until next week.